We gave kids a box full of Lego plus 45 minutes to sort this pile of balls by colour. Now I've run this workshop hundreds of times and I kind of think I've seen it all. But there was one group that just absolutely floored me. I mean, I was stumped. It was nuts. Now let's start simple because they did too. Firstly, how do we move this ball from one side of the table to the other? Maybe we build an arm to pick it up and put it down. Maybe we get something that kind of flicks it. Or maybe even a trebuchet where it kind of just flicks over. Now pause here if you want to go, but here's the catch. Let's say you do want this arm that lifts something up and places it over there. You're gonna have to build it from raw materials, from just these pieces here. I mean, there are beams, there's some axles. Now there is some saving grace. There is a motor and there is a color sensor. But let's leave this color sensor for a while because the first rule is always tackling one problem at a time. And this goes for everyone, let alone just kids. You never dump everything all at once. First, I've got to clean this mess. A clean mind, a clean table is a clean mind. I didn't even believe that myself, it just looks prettier. So alongside this motor, we do have a hub. Now this hub can be used to throw on loads and loads of Scratch, loads of code, loads of Python, whatever language you want. Actually, I think it's Python, which means all that color sensing and all that kind of stuff will be kind of handled by the code. Of course, we've got to do the physical build, but a lot of the code is going to come into that later. Now this motor just spins round and round in a circle, and that's kind of the trap because as soon as we see something like this, we think wheel. And now if I was to touch a wheel to this, all of a sudden, this makes a lot more sense as some kind of EV, some kind of electric car, some kind of vehicle that moves from one place to another. And this could certainly work. You could build a car that takes the balls from one side of the table to the other. It's a bit fiddly, but it works. We could build a car here. Well, the younger ones, they didn't fall for that. They saw this as a windmill or even a clock. And we can see where that's come from. Perfectly flicks all the balls exactly where we need them. What they built was something that looks like this. And this is a lot better than what I built. Let's get rid of this. And we can immediately see the clock function that goes around or the windmill function. And we know, we place the ball right here. This comes down, sweeps it round, perfection. The only thing that this group had left to do, and this was a Key Stage 2 group, so around 8 years old, they built this in 45 minutes. And the only thing left to do now was to add the color sensing. Actually, wait, before we even dig in further into this, why are we even looking at this? I mean, why did I task hundreds of kids around London in building this? I mean, what's the point? Well, there's always a reason, and a very important one. The world is full of sorting things out, and I mean packed to the brim with this kind of stuff. And I don't mean like just admin or trying to work on your to-do list. I mean genuinely sorting things out. I mean when you place an order online and it just arrives miraculously somehow. You place it in the morning and how does it arrive the same day? It's just nuts. Somewhere there's a building the size of a small town with millions and millions of parcels, all with different addresses, all going to different places, all being sorted every single hour, 24/7. And the machines that sort them don't just pick things up. I mean, there was that video of that sorting thing, but they generally just twist, turn, flip, scan, and then send it to the right place. Thousands of times an hour, mostly without getting it wrong. And honestly, I could talk forever about this. There's so many different things and it's a whole series for a whole new video. The main point is, this is the problem we handed to the kids. To figure out a way of sorting these balls out by color, the same way that these machines handle all these parcels millions of times an hour to arrive at our doorstep, 8 PM, the same day. Right, back to the kids. These were empty. Now the fortunate thing is, with this design, we can actually send our ball 2 different ways. So we've got a 2-color sorting machine. We could send the balls one way, as it goes this way, and then we can also send it this way. So what the kids did was place this sensor right here, and with a bit of code, they managed to get this to work. Now I've placed the code up here and it's super simple. There's no need for if functions or anything else. If it's red, it does something. If it's blue, it does something else. That's it. Now what the kids did was they added a delay right at the beginning because what they were finding was they were placing their ball in and the motor just started spinning immediately, kind of just throwing everything away. They wanted to breathe just a little, place the ball, kind of walk away, and then it span round. So we can try it with the red. Spins around, and hopefully with the blue it goes the other way. Didn't catch that. This is incredible, and this is what the Key Stage 2 kids made. So these are about 7, 8-year-olds. I think this is perfect. This is absolutely amazing. So this is why the next bit kind of stopped me, because there was a group that managed to get 4. And honestly, they could have done 8 if they really wanted to. It feels impossible, right? And instinctively, you kind of think, right, it's got to be more complicated. It has to be more complicated than this. There was one group that was all about this. They went straight for the 4 colors. And what they decided was that they needed a gearbox. That's right, a gearbox. And honestly, bless them, because a gearbox is a fantastic mechanism. We're surrounded by them all the time. The drill, your car, even your electric mixer in your cupboard probably has a gearbox of some sort. And what a gearbox really is a series of gears all meshed together, exchanging torque for speed. And we see this all the time when we're in a car. When we normally want to set off, we set off in the first gear. When we need loads and loads of torque, we need loads of force to push us from stationary. But when we're cruising down the motorway, we're in the 5th, 6th, 7th gear. We're cruising down, loads and loads of speed, very, very little torque, very little force on the engine. And it's that trade-off. When we're driving, we're always having that trade-off. And that's primarily what a gearbox does, exchanging speed for torque. So this group, this Key Stage 3 group, bunch of 13-year-olds, they wanted to build a gearbox. They wanted to build this to move these balls, and not only move them, to color sort them. And I was thinking, you could probably use some gears in some way to move these balls from one side of the table to the other, and also color sort them for sure. You could also walk from London to New York, going east through Europe, through Russia, through Siberia, wait for the sea to freeze, cross the Bering Strait, through Canada and into America, and there you are, into New York. It would take quite a lot of time, I'd imagine. But it's definitely possible, 100% possible. But you know what's also possible? Boarding a flight. You'll get there in about 5-6 hours. What the group did here, or tried to do, was walk to New York from London. Because a gearbox is definitely possible. But it's the wrong tool for the job. I told him so many times, a gearbox is primarily for cars and exchanging speeds. And if you want to get really high speeds or really high torque, that's exactly what a gearbox is for. It's not really for this. You can do it. But remember, guys, you've got 45 minutes and you want to be able to color sort all of this. And it's not enough time. Are you sure? And they're like, sir, don't worry. Have a little bit of faith in us. We've got this. Obviously, they didn't. It got to like 40 minutes of what they decided to do was build this. They ended up coming second out of the whole class. They built this in 4 minutes. It was very similar to this, a little bit more elaborate. They ended up coming second in the class after just gears on their table trying to build a gearbox. They did really, really well. And what this told me was something quite important. They always had it in them to build something like this. They just chose to walk a little bit to New York and then realize, hold on, let's board the plane. Let's get on the plane, it's a lot more easier. So the gearing itself is not a daft idea. And I'm pretty sure this group would have eventually gotten there if we had enough time. There was one group that did get there, and they decided to go for a rack and pinion system. They built a system like this. It's basically a round gear that sits on a straight tooth track. So we can see our straight tooth right here, and we can see our round gear right here. You spin the gear and the rack drags itself along. So I place this red one right here, and we get that one moving. If I place this blue one, we should see the other one move. And the thing is, you've probably seen or even used one without you even thinking. These are everywhere. This system here, obviously not the color sorting, but this system here is everywhere. I've 3D printed it. And what it is the steering inside our cars. As we turn the steering wheel around, what we can see is that round gear turning that flat toothed one. And by doing so, what we also do is turn the wheels. What an amazing mechanism. And what the group managed to do was build a rack and pinion system without even knowing the name. And they turned rotating motion, which is the motor, into linear motion. They didn't know the name. They didn't need to. They just built something that was just out of this world. And really, if they shuffled some components around, they could easily get a third color in here. This, with a little bit more time, could have definitely done 3 colors. So how on earth do we get 4? what this group did was build this masterpiece. And we could already get a gist of it. It spins around depending on where it needs to go. And then on the inside, we have the thing that does the flicking. This flicks the ball out and it directs it to where it needs to go. Insane. And when you start to see this working, it's just, you'll be in shock. So this model is as close as I got to what the kids actually made. And I placed all the boxes around. This one should be here. There's not enough space. If I place this red ball into the slot, it should rotate round and go into the red slot. It should then go back to base. What we should now see is when I place the yellow one in, it should go clockwise round, empty it out, and then go back to where it's supposed to be. Fantastic. Now let's try the blue one just to make sure it works. We place that in, it should just empty out, and it goes in. What a win. And the beautiful part about this one is they could have definitely gotten to 8. We could have added a box here, and all of a sudden you've got a ring of boxes. You throw down the balls and it just rotates to exactly where it needs to be. This was an absolute engineering marvel. Now going back to the start, every group had roughly the same amount of materials, but we got some very, very different results. And you must be thinking, how could this one do a hypothetical 8 and these two only 2 with just the same materials? Well, that came down to time. Well, this group here had an entire day to build something this extravagant. As for these two, this was 45 minutes on the clock. These were racing to try and get something done. So the younger children who built this in the 45 minutes, they were up against some serious time. And the older group who had the same amount of time built something a lot more extravagant with our rack and pinion system. And of course, you give a bunch of kids a whole day to build something, they build something as cool as this. And I want to come back to this because this is some really, really fancy kit. I mean, we've got motors, we've got color sensors, we've got rack and pinion systems. We've got the full works here, but I didn't build the rack and pinion system. I didn't build the clock or the 360 shoot. I gave the kids the task to do, to sort these balls out by color. And it was down to the kids to bring their own imagination into the classroom and come up with their own ideas. The best thing I could do was hand them a task so solid enough, so robust, and basically to step out of the way and let them figure out the rest. And if they want to genuinely walk to New York from London and then decide at the last minute to board the plane, they can, because they've certainly learned a lot on the way. The cleverest thing in the room wasn't the stuff, it never was. It wasn't me either. It was the kids and their imagination bringing it all to the table to make some pretty cool ideas. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.